All right, folks, we're working on the 2014 Ford Focus, and the customer complaint is the headlights don't work, and neither do, oh look at that, I think I just heard a dinger, neither does the dimmer, he says. But I get some kind of action when I do that. So we get a little bit of a beeping action, but when I turn this on and off, nothing happens. And he says the dimmer doesn't work, which is right here, and the trunk popper thing doesn't work. But when I push this here, we can hear the trunk pop. So that does work. So we know the trunk can actuate. In an effort to save some time, I did print us out. I can't see out here, but I did print us out a diagram. And it looks like, you know, we've got the headlight switch that has power going to it. So first thing we're going to do is check that fuse. And then it communicates on a LIN bus to the body control module. Therefore, I plugged in the scan tool. Now, when I was plugging that in, I see the connector was hanging loose, and I see a bunch of sin up under there, aka butt connectors and tape and stuff. It looks like a factory installed remote start here from Ford. So this thing. So let's look at some scan data, see if we have codes, and then see what that tells us. So let's go into the body module and see if there's any help there. I don't know what you guys can see there. Let me shut the door here. Up on the dash here, it says low beam fault, but key on engine off. I don't know if you can see the reflection on the back of that probe. Yes, that is a Ford probe. That the right hand low beam is on, so that's something to note. So right now the key's on. I'm flicking the headlight dimmer switch back and forth. We've got no action. Well, we've got a turn signal there, but turning the headlight switch from auto to headlights to marker lights and then back to off, that headlight remains on. So hopefully you guys can see that. And I know there's going to be a glare because we're outside and it's kind of annoying, but I'm going to let this go through and let it scan. Let's see, body control modules up here, instrument panel cluster. Body control module has 2 codes, so that's good. The customer also stated they purchased a new radio in case that's the problem. So I'm not sure what the radio has to do with it, but maybe perhaps he knows something more about it than we do. But he does have a new radio sitting here in case that's why the headlights don't work. So let's have a look. Instrument panel cluster has a code for lost comm with radio. Body control module has a code for light switch module and a code for left low beam. So that's all worthy to note, because key on engine off, that right low beam appears to be working. And then so I think we should focus our efforts right on this B113087-2 Foxtrot. That's the one we need to look at. I'm going to get some data on that, and then we're going to go from there. Does this thing just have a bad light switch? Well, I don't know. Light switch module missing message is what this means. Well, no kidding, fella. Refer to headlamp exterior lighting for testing and diagnosing. Okay, so that's worthy to note. I'm thinking that's going to be a pretty straightforward approach. We will go to pinpoint test C, light switch module missing message. So as I noted here when I printed this out, it looks like our headlight switch is essentially only three wires, perhaps, but it doesn't have the dotted line around it, so I'm assuming this is a complete diagram. So we should have a power, a ground, and a LIN bus. And if this headlight switch contains all of the trunk button and the dimmer stuff, it would make sense that, you know, perhaps none of that stuff works either. So let's not get too tangled up here, folks. The good news is we got in here, and of course we've got the butt connectors. We've got the extra wire. Goes down in here to some kind of relay. Yeah, so it's got this. Let me see if I can get my fingers in there. We got some aftermarket crap, so yeah, there's a relay in there. There is a smart start stop system from Ford. Awesome. I guess before we jump to conclusions, we don't want to be those guys. It is just 3 wires. We will unplug it. Okay. I don't know if this switch is new or not. It does. Yeah, somebody's been in here because this piece of the tab is tore up. So clearly it has some evidence of being meddled with. This tab here is all bent up, so that could have been from the installation of the remote starter and or the guessing of what's wrong with my car. Parts exchange program. What I think we need to do is, do we have power, do we have ground? And if we do, what turns this relay on and off, which is weird. It looks like, I see a relay in here and it looks like it's four wires, a bunch of wires hanging down here. What I should do is just plug it in and walk away, but let me go get some stuff. Hot at all times, fuse 23, 5 amp goes to red, black goes to ground. So we shouldn't have to turn the key on or anything. We can very gingerly back probe this. There's not a lot of wire here, so I'm just going to go back probed into the black, back probed into the red, back probed. We're going to probe it. Get that one into the black. And ta-da! We've got no power and or no ground. So before we got all excited and go chopping off this relay, we need to find fuse 23, battery junction box, left side of engine compartment, right in the first spot. You should have started there, Mr. O. You ding dong. How does this thing work? That's not something you want to hear from your mechanic. Fuse 32. So I got this thing going the right way. Bear with me, folks. This is my first day. 3, 4, got 2 relays, got the 4th relay. Okay, all right. I think we're going the right way now, fellas. Where is 23? Right here, 23. 5 amp right there. 23, 26, 27. We got the ground. Got your classic ground right here. We're gonna vice grip that a little tighter. Boom. Hot at all times on that side and on that side. All right, folks, we got your classic broken wire because our fuse is good there. However, remember the old trick of cutting the leg off the fuse. Let's make sure that didn't happen to us. So we're gonna pull out the old 5 amper. Make sure somebody didn't just chop it off. Make sure the female halves down in here feel good. They do. So now we're gonna take this test light right on the inside, and are we missing power or are we missing a ground? So I'm in here, probed into there. We have no light, so therefore we have broken wire or bad connector or something. Power is not going from out there to in here. It's a long story short, as they like to say. Little proof of concept. Hooked a jumper wire to battery plus. Ran it around town. Come inside. I'm Batman. Just kept the test light in line for us. Kept it in the battery plus. I'm going to plug in the headlight switch. See if we can make it happen. It shouldn't be drawing a lot of current, so our test light in line there will be okay. Keep us from shorting anything. Headlights are on. Let me get the key because we know it works now because we've got the headlight dinger, so that's a good proof of concept for us, right? Keys on. Headlights are on. High beams work. We got one low beam out because we probably have a blown bulb. But this is good proof of concept because now they work. Shut that off. Shut that off. So at this point, folks, we're going to have to use our spidey senses. But I also think what I need to do at this point is stop, put the brakes on, and we need to call the customer. And we need to tell them what we found. We need to say, customer, here's what we found. We've gone through, we've determined that there is a broken wire. And I'll be honest with you, folks, I don't know if I want this job. It is a freaking rat's nest under this dash from where Ford put in the remote start. It's nothing but, you know, zip ties, butt connectors, Scotch blocks. I think, honestly, I'm just going to walk away from this job. I know that sounds ridiculous to some of you, but in the words of Kenny Rogers in The Gambler, you need to know when to hold them and you know when to fold them. When to walk away and when to run. I've gotten myself in these predicaments before, where you take these cars that are just jerry-rigged from one end to the next, and it just becomes frustrating. And I don't know any better way to say that, and you know, I just have to communicate that to my customer in the best way that I can after we figure out how to get this thing back together. Because as you can tell, everywhere that we've been, somebody else has already been too. So there's already a lot of broken stuff, and I just don't want it to turn into a big old mess trying to go after it. I looked at some of the obvious spots, and I don't see anything there, but everything's been touched under the hood. It's pretty rough. So we're gonna run. I think before I throw in the towel 100%, I'll just kind of do our due diligence here. I see when I was looking at the diagram, so we got our headlight switch comes out. You know, the fuse that we checked, we know that there's power coming out, but nothing coming in. But see this connector C214, at least we may be able to give some insight. Is it, you know, is it power making it here? So pin 9 on C214. And then I saved a bookmark because I was looking for that connector. Just a little pissy today, folks. C214 component view. Just kind of a long day. Things aren't going great for me today. Let's see, C214. So passenger compartment lays down there, and it's supposed to be pin number 9. So that's where we'll look at the connector view here. Come on, open up before I punch you in the face. Pin number 9. See if that makes sense. Pin number 9, red. Okay, 20 gauge, so it is small. Where's pin number 9? It's almost on an end. All right, so let's at least go that far and have a look, see before we, who knows, maybe that's the problem. I'm Batman. Oh, see, somebody's already been here too. Waste of time. Yep, somebody's already been to this whole dang thing. That should be that one there. I thought we would have had a good ground. Let me check some fuses here. Yes, we got a good ground. Make sure I'm not making it in all the way. Yeah, let me get a needle here. So I've got a back probe in it. And when I touch it, it does not light up, but we know it's good because, you know, my test light's good because it works here, but nothing here. So I guess we can probably stop being a little bit of a pissy pants, because now we're probably looking for a broken wire under the hood, which the car doesn't seem to be as cobbed up under the hood. Yeah, no, we got no power there, so I just want to make sure it wasn't coming on one half and not the other. So I don't know, easiest thing to do, you want to do an overlay, boom, jump it from here, find a fuse, call it a day. See, this is where the harness runs across the firewall. I think I did one of these cars once. It had no horn, and I remember the harness being broke here under the brake booster. Gosh, dang it. Well, let me give her a little visual inspection out here now that we think the problem's out here. Well, looky what I found. I got my camera stuffed back behind the brake booster. I did this once on a Ford Focus. And we look back here and there's a big old rat's nest. Now that pipe there with the shadow going across there, that's the wiring harness, and it goes right back, and that's a big old rat's nest back there. It's buried in that back corner behind the brake lines and behind the brake booster. Like I said, I was back in there with a mirror. I was like, man, I think I see a rat's nest. I think I smell a rat, my guy. And then, sure as the day is long, there's mouse stuff back there. Now, does that mean that's where the wires broke? No. But past experience told me that's probably pretty likely. Oh, man, I remember that car I did, it was broke behind all those brake lines. All right, at this point I need to get some authorization. All right, folks, so we've determined, you know, we're missing that power. Let me roll these windows up. We've also determined that the brake is outside under the hood. Now we can 100% verify that by running power to that connector down there in the passenger footwell, and then, you know, seeing if our headlights work, and, you know, technically they should. But I think we'll do that tomorrow. I'm not in a great frame of mind today, so we're gonna skip that. The customer did authorize, you know, a few hours to figure it out here. But I think I'm gonna come in tomorrow, hopefully with a better attitude, and then check out, you know, jumper power to that, make sure we're right, make sure this turns on, and then I think it would also be beneficial to go out under the hood and also fix the, you know, the left low beam to see if that is, you know, simply just a bulb. It's kind of curious to see that every place we go, everything has been touched and broke already, and, you know, fiddled with and dug at, you know, and you can see that. So that gives me a little bit of pause, but I was a little excited to see the mouse nest, I guess, if you can get excited to see a mouse nest. So I think we'll continue this on in part 2. I've got kind of a busy day. One guy's short tomorrow. So I'm going to try to get back after this tomorrow. And first thing, we'll take the battery box, take the battery out, see what it takes to get that battery box out, see if we can see back in there. Hopefully we're not, you know, chasing a ghost, but sometimes when, you know, you're looking for a broken wire, you're going for, you know, the spots that seem to be the most obvious. So anyhow, see you tomorrow.